The wise do not ask where power comes from. They do not ask why the ground trembles beneath their will or why the weak look away. They do not question the cost of knowledge, nor count the dead left behind. Knowledge is written in bone and blood, and those who hesitate to carve it into the earth will be lost. The warlock's path begins not with a spell nor an offering, but with a book bound in red leather, marked by 3 yellow squares forming a triangle. No warlock is without one. It is carried from the first day of the academy, held close in the dim halls. In its pages, the young record their lessons. Yet, as the mind sharpens, the book begins to change. For some, the red tome is a guide. For others, it is a gate, a prison, a confessional. Some tomes hold failed spells, disastrous summonings that left only blackened remains. Others contain fading thoughts of those who strayed too close to something they could not control. The unlucky ones who pressed forward despite their doubts, who wrote of shadows moving against torchlight where none should be, of whispers creeping through the cracks in stone walls, of hands turning pages when no one stood behind them. Red tomes do not perish with their keepers. Some pass into new hands, some refuse to burn, some it is whispered right back. The body is frail, but the stone does not suffer. When the first stone golem was shaped by will alone, it was seen as a gift of the abyss, immune to pain, beyond fatigue, an unthinking sentinel of absolute control. But knowledge does not stop at creation. The warlocks soon learned that what is built can also be unmade. Deep within the halls of the old academies, where walls still bear scars of failed spells, a secret was uncovered. If stone could be summoned, if it could be shaped, then it could also be dissolved. And it was. By ritual, by hunger, by a truth that should have remained buried, the first golem was unmade, not shattered, not broken, but reduced to dust, a fine, weightless powder, clinging to the hands of those who held it, staining the skin, never fading. The warlocks learned that this dust was not simply remnants of stone. It carried the weight, the unyielding strength of the creature it had once been. With the right sigils, the right blood, it could be bound into amulets, twisted into rings, infused into jewels that would grant a body of flesh the endurance of the lifeless, for a time. But the spells did not last. The amulets fractured, the dust burned out, and the wearer was left vulnerable once more. Some swore they could hear faint grinding sounds when the spells failed, like distant stones dragging against one another in unseen tunnels. Some believed the golems did not truly cease when reduced to dust. Some believed they still felt. Few cared to ask what the dust remembered. There is no true wizard without the sky at his control. Before the abyss whispered its secrets, before the red tomes were bound in blood, before the first stone was shaped by will, there was an ancient order that did not cower in shadow. They were called many things by those who feared them, but they did not answer to titles. They answered to the ring of the sky. It was a mark of mastery, worn only by those whose power had reached beyond the simple spells of lesser minds. In its golden band, the sky itself was captured, blue as the ocean on one side, black as the void on the other, ever shifting, never still. To wear it was to command the unseen, to be recognized as more than mortal, as one who had touched the greater forces and returned unchanged. But warlocks do not revere the sky. They tear it open, clawing through its veil to reach something greater. And yet, the practice remains. The ring of the sky is still worn, not as a sign of honor, but as a mockery of what came before. Its shifting light is no longer a symbol of knowledge, but of defiance, a reminder that the old ways have been trampled underfoot, that the pursuit of power has long since eclipsed the caution of the ancients. The young wear it before they understand its meaning. The old wear it despite knowing the cost, and the dead wear it still, grasped by the long dead, awaiting the sky's collapse. The dungeons do not forget. In the lowest chambers where the air is thick with soot and damp with the sweat of those who labor in silence, the work continues. The red tomes are filled. The dust of the golems is harvested. The rings of the sky remain unbroken. The weak still believe the warlocks seek only spells, that their libraries are mere collections of forgotten words, that their enchantments are born of greed. But they do not see the deeper purpose. They do not feel the ground tremble beneath them. The rituals have not yet reached completion. The first walls have cracked, but the gates still hold. The lords have not yet been called, but they will be. The dungeons will open, and they will not close again.